Hello, how's it going, everybody? And you are watching Result Report's coverage of the South region of 2023 NCAA Tournament March Madness bracket. So to start us off, we have the 1 seed Alabama Crimson Tide. I think that's totally deserved to come into the day. I think it was going to be Houston coming in there. I do think Houston's overrated, but that 1 seed would have gone to Houston. And then first it started with Alabama's blowout win over Texas A&M in the SEC Championship. And then moving on to Houston losing by 10 to Memphis, and Memphis is growing. They're getting better here. So Alabama does deserve that number 1 overall seed. And who will they play? The winner of Southeast Missouri State and Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Remember, 1 16 seed has ever done it. The UMBC Retrievers beat the Virginia Cavaliers 74-54 in 2018. So I have Alabama going on. You're just not going to beat them. And then up next is the 8-9 matchup of the 8-seed Maryland Terrapins from the Big Ten and the 9-seeded Mountaineers of West Virginia. West Virginia playing pretty well lately. Some people thought they were going to go out. That's kind of what I was thinking. They did not have too good of a record. They're in at 19-13 with a 9 seed. And Maryland not playing too well. I am still going to go with, I was going to say the Terps right here, but I've changed my mind last second to West Virginia. This is going to be a good game, though. West Virginia has greater competition, and Maryland just lost to Indiana, a team not playing very well lately. So it'll be Alabama against Maryland, which we'll cover a bit later. The 5-seeded San Diego State Aztecs out of the Mountain West will play the College of Charleston at 31-3, the 12 seed. Some people don't know how easy their competition is, though, so that's why at 31-3 they're given a 12 seed rather than 31-3. Houston, a 1 seed, overrated. But Charleston is a 12 seed. Many people are saying that remember, like I said in last video, that there is always that 5-12 upset, and also the 11 seed has an edge over the 6 seed. And I don't think this is going to be the 5-12 upset. I'm going to give you that in a later video to be published today. So I have San Diego State moving on. And then the 4-seed Virginia and 13 seed the Paladins of Furman from the SoCon Southern Conference. Furman with leader Mike Bothwell playing a pretty good season for him. They just beat Chattanooga the Mocs, who made March Madness last year. Barely lost to Illinois in the first round by 1 point, a game they controlled mostly. But I think Furman might be a bit too much for Virginia. Virginia is not playing well lately. So I'm going to go with the 13-seeded Paladins to beat Virginia, who has been ranked as high as number 2 this season. So Furman to the second round. First upset. Okay, hint. Spoiler alert, this is the biggest upset in my bracket, Virginia-Furman. And then the 6th seed, the Creighton Blue Jays, are from the Big East. Hey, they've made the tournament here the past few years, so they've got a streak going. They will be playing the 11th seed NC State, who had a rough season last year. Now they really controlled the ACC this year a bit, and they were ranked a bit, which is impressive for the Wolfpack. Speaking that they are not a good basketball program, well, in the past they were with Jimmy V. And so I think NC State is going to beat Creighton. You know, the 11 seed has the edge. So I have some 6 seeds winning later. Who will they face? The 3 seed, maybe the 3 seed Baylor Bears, not playing too well right now. And then the 14 seed Gauchos of UC Santa Barbara. I have Baylor winning this one. You don't see a 14 seed come out and win. Remember what I said earlier? The biggest upset is the 4-13 seed, and that is my only 4-13 seed upset. And then the 7th seed Missouri and Utah State. Utah State does not have that good of a competition, but they are playing pretty well lately. They are the second or third team out of the Mountain West, depending on where you rank them in Boise State. So then, Boise State not Boise State. Utah State will lose to Missouri. Speaking, Missouri was doing pretty well against Alabama, and so Missouri moves on to the second round. Then who would they play? 2-seed Arizona against 15-seed Princeton. Princeton, coming out of the Ivy League, got a 9-point win over Yale in the Ivy League championship. Arizona's too much. They just beat number 2 in the country, UCLA. Hint, they are a number 2 seed. UCLA is. So Arizona is going to move on. Back to the top of the South region. We have Alabama playing Alabama against Maryland. No, against West Virginia. West Virginia, probably each of these teams have great competition to go against. Though the one time Alabama played against the Big 12, they were annihilated by Oklahoma, 93-69. And Oklahoma this year finished 15-17. That is a good Oklahoma team, is what that game shows you. And Oklahoma, it's just been the Big 12 is packed. There are no easy games in the Big 12. Just telling you that one. So with this game, I'm going to have to roll with the tide. Alabama, just remember that blowout win against Texas A&M, who is a very good team right now. So Alabama, I have to the Sweet 16. Then the 5-seed San Diego State Aztecs against the 13-seed Furman, who had beaten Virginia in my bracket. Virginia, once again, Virginia has no March Madness wins since the 2019 National Championship. That is something to consider as well. And the year before that, Virginia lost as a 1-seed to 16-seed UMBC. So I have Furman winning here, obviously, once again. So San Diego State and Furman. San Diego State, I don't know why they're supposed to be so good. I don't find out why. Maybe they got some recruits. I don't know why Houston's so good right now. So I have San Diego State moving on still. Furman's just too small of a school. So it'll be Alabama against San Diego State. Good competition there. And then down below again, Creighton will play Baylor. No, not Creighton. NC State and Baylor. I think, honestly, Baylor should win this game, even though, well, they have been having a rough ride lately. If they can't shoot, Baylor can't win. It has to be their guards. It's the guard that makes Baylor so good. That's what Scott Drew is good with. And then NC State is not a bad team. They have a draft prospect, Terquavian Smith. And I still have Baylor, even though it's been a little rough. Just keep shooting is also how to get out of slump. And then Big 12, like Oklahoma. Oklahoma really experienced it. But the Big 12 is hard. And some teams are going to leave it. And some teams are going to join it. Like Houston next year. Ooh, kind of scared. They're going to get shown and exposed. And then down again, this is so after Baylor advancing to the Sweet 16, that leaves Missouri and Arizona to play. And Missouri they have a first-year coach here, but they've got some good players out there. They had a Clemson transfer. They had, I don't know his name at the moment, but I might remember it. They had a Clemson transfer. They have Kobe Brown, who's been insane this season. But Arizona, with Azoa Stabilis and Pelly Larson and Umar Ballo, can be too much for some teams. Sometimes they just show up and they're terrible. It's like they don't even show up. Arizona win this game after winning the Pac-12. Back to the top, Sweet 16, Alabama and San Diego State. San Diego State's not a bad team, but I think the road ends here. Kind of like it did New Orleans last year. So I think Alabama to the Elite Eight does the number 1 overall seed. Not spoiling if they win it all yet. So now I have the other Sweet 16 game in this region being Baylor and Arizona. Baylor won the national championship in 2021 when it was all COVID bubble in Indianapolis. And then Arizona was the number 2 overall seed last season. I am going to give this win to Baylor. The Big 12 is, I think the Pac-12 honestly is weak. That UCLA and Arizona and USC, especially UCLA, are kind of overrated. UCLA just does not play anyone good. And their losses are to good teams. So it's just a weakness that it's showing. Their one good win is Arizona at home. So I have Baylor winning this one. Then the Elite Eight game, Alabama and Baylor, the 1 seed and the 3 seed. I am going to have to go with the Baylor Bears going back to the Final Four for the second time in the last 3 years. Brandon Miller's been getting into foul trouble lately, and I think the Big 12 has been too much for Alabama, honestly. So that leads Baylor to the Final Four. Let's do the Midwest region in the next episode.